Now, I know it's been all but inevitable, but for the first time I can say to you that Brexit is definitely happening. That's because the European Parliament has voted to approve the EU and the UK's withdrawal deal. The vote was 621 to 49, so not at all close. The UK will now definitely leave the European Union at 11 p.m. UK time on Friday. That's midnight in Brussels. As soon as the result was announced, many members of the European Parliament broke into song. So an unlikely rendition of Auld Lang Syne. That's a Scottish folk song for those of you who don't know it, but most of you will. And of course it recalls happy days gone by. Now, for a lot of those people singing, the happy days in terms of the UK's relationship with the EU are in the past. Today is not a day that they're celebrating. The same definitely can't be true, said, for the Brexit Party leader, Nigel Farage.
I know you're going to miss us. I know you want to ban our national flags, but we're going to wave you goodbye. And we'll look forward in the future to working with you as sovereign.
If you disobey the rules, you get cut off. Could we please remove the flags?
All right, Shalom Akyam, all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harachakodash, double honors unto the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the Akyam worldwide, who are doing the work of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai in truth, faith, and in sincerity. Hey, the year of prophecy is definitely living up to its name. Here we have another prophecy being fulfilled in Britain, or the UK exiting the EU. And that was prophesied in Daniel, the 2nd chapter. So you heard here the guy reporting that, hey, it is official, or rather it will be official tomorrow night, that Britain will no longer be a part of the EU, and this is prophesied. And we're going to get into these prophecies. So, hey, before we get into this word, Kal Halal, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Harachakodash, is we about to get out of here. 2020 is starting off with a bang. The Most High got the entire world off the hook. You know, things are going, man. You got swarms of locusts, earthquakes, a plague of pestilence, shutting down China. It's beautiful, man. It is poetic justice, and it's justice for the Hebrew Israelites. And a lot of you gonna suffer. 2/3 of you gonna suffer and die. You understand? But the Most High is gonna preserve a remnant and bring them through, and the nation will be rebuilt, and we're gonna be rebuilt or established in the Most High's glory through his only begotten son. We're basically in the glory of his only begotten son. We will be established. So you see this present day empire, this white boy's kingdom collapsing, but at the same time, you see the Hebrew Israelites rising. You know, you got fires out of control in Australia. Most High is tearing this place up. So man, Kal Halal for that, man. Kal Halal, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. So what we're going to do, I'm going to bring out the prophecy, and I'm going to cut to the chase, because brothers been prophesying this for years. Y'all turned a deaf ear. Y'all didn't want to hear. See, now we coming to the time where you people are going to start to wake up out of that slumber. And for many of you, it's going to be too late. You know? Because you done already mocked or scoffed or did something to have your name removed from the book of life. But for some of you, there's still hope. So this is why we still got to push this work. So this is Daniel chapter 2 and verse 40, going, like I said, straight to the chase. And, you can go back. If you're not familiar with Daniel, the 2nd chapter, read the entire chapter. This here picture explains it. All right. This explains the dream that Nebuchadnezzar had and that image that frightened him. You know, it frightened him. And it's, hey, And a lot of you people are about to be frightened out of your wits. But now, again, this is Daniel chapter 2, verse 40. It says, and the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron. So you can count them. All right? The head of gold, first. Arms of silver, well, head of gold, Babylon, the first kingdom. Arms of silver, which is the Medo-Persian Empire, because you had the Medes and the Persians ruling at the same time. That's why it was the arms. It was two. They had the right and the left, the Medes and the Persians. Hit you with that combination. And then you had the third kingdom, the thighs of brass, that was the Grecian Empire, established under Alexander the Great. Then we come to the fourth kingdom, the legs of iron, and that was Rome, established back in the day. Well, guess what? Rome has been revised. It has been brought back to life. Now, Revelation speaks on that, but I may go into that in another lesson. So the date that you see when you go down up under Rome, when it said the feet of iron and clay, the revived Roman Empire, that's right. But the date that they have is wrong because they're trying to equate that here with the Holy Roman Empire, and the Holy Roman Empire was under the rule of Hebrew Israelites, so-called black people. You understand? So, no, it wasn't, what is that, 476 looks like, AD? No. That's no. The revived Roman Empire came into play when the Edomites, the so-called white people, took back control. That is the revived Roman Empire. They are the Romans. The Edomites are the Romans. So it was not 476, it looks like. That the date that they have there down at the bottom, that's false. It would have began around the 1300s, mid 1300s to the late 1300s, but the stamp of approval was put on when they actually instituted that Treaty of Rome, and that was just in recent history. The Treaty of Rome. So, and you can look up the date on that. That was around the 50s, if I'm not mistaken. I'm I'm not sure on that date at this moment, and if the spirit allow, I'll pull it up. But I got a lot of other info that I need to get into. So, right, that fourth kingdom is Rome, but Rome was brought back. Now let's get that in the scripture. Okay, it's like I mentioned that the book of Revelation spoke on it or recorded that. So let's see here. Okay, we're gonna go down here to we're gonna get Revelation chapter 13, verse 3. All right, and it said, well, let me start at 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. Now, that beast having 7 heads, that's the rulership of these Edomites throughout the years, you know. And so you had these different rulerships with Esau. You had the Grecian Empire, the Roman Empire. You had Germania Major, Germania Minor. You had Spain. You had Germany, and there's one more. Let's see here. Which one am I missing? All right, and you had Slovakia, France. So the Greeks, the Romans, Spain, France, Germania Major, Germania Minor, and Britain. Those are the 7 heads. Now, it spoke about the 10 horns, and this is what we're going to get into, because those 10 horns are the EU, which Brexit has withdrawn from. And those 10 horns being Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg, Italy, France, Germany, Greece, Denmark, Ireland, and Spain. Those are the 10 horns, and it said upon those 10 horns, 10 crowns, because, right, at one point they was all sovereign. They all ruled and reigned. But the Most High is bringing that to a close. So it says, verse 2, and the beast which I saw was likened to a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion, and the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. So, right, it mentioned that the beast which I saw was likened to a leopard, which is going back to the Grecian Empire. And his feet were as the feet of a bear. The feet is going into those Russians, because the feet is going to be the end of that. That's the end of this image. And and his feet were as the feet of a bear, the Roman or the Russians, which are Edomites, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion, which is going into England, Britain. This is why this is major, this move that's being made, because Britain or England is the mouth. So now you have this you have this image without a mouth, or this beast with no mouth. It says, and the dragon gave him his power, the dragon being the Roman Empire. And his seat and great authority. So in verse 3, here's the point, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. So that deadly wound was the wound that basically when the Hebrew Israelites took down the Roman Empire, but it was not destroyed. It was not finished. It was only wounded because, as we see, Rome has been revised. We are living in the Roman Empire. So, right, the deadly wound was Rome being taken down by Israelites, but then they called it the Holy Roman, or the scholars dubbed it the Holy Roman Empire, which ushered in the Dark Ages. But now we are back in Rome all over again, because as it says, when you jump over, same book, same chapter, right? Revelation 13, and it says, verse 15. Well, let's start at 14. So Revelation 13 and 14, and deceived them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, which he had to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live, the Roman Empire. So they was taken down by the sword, by warfare, but yet it lives. It was brought back to fulfill prophecy, and now we're almost at the end of all things being fulfilled. So that's pretty much all I needed right there. But I get 15. It said, and he had power to give life, and it mentioned back in verse 14 that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live. Of course, that's wrong. All right, so 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. He had power to give life unto the image of the beast, because the earth was given into the hands of the wicked in order to fulfill prophecy. So he had power to do that. The Most High set him up. All right. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and caused that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And this is the time that we're coming to. Because, even though you might have seen that on the small scale, this is about to really, with the ushering in of the mark of the beast, that's really what's going to fulfill that, because that's the worship of the beast, the taking of his mark. And if you don't take his mark, you will be put to death. So that's another prophecy that we're yet looking for to be fulfilled. So let's go back to Daniel chapter 2 and verse 40. So you can understand that fourth kingdom, which is what we read about in Revelation, the 13th chapter, the same kingdom, Rome. And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron. And as you saw, the legs of iron. I don't know what happened to it. So like it now, the image won't pop up. Nothing but Satan. Anyway, and the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay, and how many toes does a normal foot have? Just knowing without any defects or, injuries, is 10. Same as those 10 horns that we read about in Revelation, the 13th chapter. So, verse 41, and whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay, and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. So, among these 10 toes, which is the same as the 10 horns, that is the EU, there will be division. As you just saw, well, you had Brexit, then you also have, Grexit, because Greece wants to leave. You have a number of these toes or horns that want to exit this union. And, the question stands, why even enter the union in the first place? And it's simple. Cut to the chase, to fulfill prophecy. They had to fulfill prophecy, even though for the most of these 10 countries of the EU, they despise this union because it restricts them. It restricts them financially and it restricts them politically. And, it's just like Greece has been in a mess since 08, 09. And they've been trying to get out of that union. So, verse 42, and as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of or part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. See, it's got weak areas in the EU, then they have areas with some strength. But now the Most High is zapping all of the strength from these nations. Okay? It's in verse 43, and whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. And here, that's where your problem lies. Because the image won't come back up, but you saw the image that fourth kingdom, the legs were of iron. The Roman Empire, well, that was Esau. But it said since they mixed with clay, they trying to bring about this new world order, and they bringing these other people in, as it says, that verse 43, and whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. Right, trying to establish a one world order. So now you got commotion. Now you got disagreements. You got discrepancies. And now the kingdom is weak. So it says, and whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. Exactly. It said, and in the days of these kings shall the power of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Now, just to give you the lowdown on that kingdom and just who that kingdom is, because everybody seemed to think that salvation is for everybody and that the Lord is coming back to redeem everyone, but nothing could be further from the truth. All right, this is Isaiah chapter 45, verse 17. But Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation. That's the breakdown of Daniel 2 and 44. And in the days of these kings shall the Most High power of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Now again, Isaiah 45 and 17. But Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation. Ye shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end. And so there you have it. You know, that just in a nutshell, giving you that how Britain or the UK is exiting the EU, and you got, as I said, a few of the other toes or the horns, however you choose to look at it, also want to leave and have been for a while now, just as Brexit or the Britain's exit. That's what Brexit stands for, Britain's exit of the EU. This has been in the works for at least 2 to 3 years. It's been a while, maybe even 4 years. And Greece been wanting out for longer than that. You see? Because the people are unhappy. And so the next thing you're going to see, because this is going to strike up some jealousy, some hatred. You saw how they cut Nigel Farage mic off. He was one of the most outspoken members in the parliament, and he was the head or he was the lead, one of the leads of Brexit. And they cut his mic off, talking about, you heard the lady say he violated the rules to quit waving the flag. Well, how, what? But this is going to cause some unease. Like I said, you had Greece for years been wanting out. So there's going to be jealousy. There's going to be some hatred. This is going to start something. So, yeah, I just wanted to bring that out in being brief. So, man, hey, what else can you say? Kal halal, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Harakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and peace and blessings to you Akyam out there, man, that are watching as well as praying. To the next lesson, you brothers stay up. Much love. Shalom.